Greetings, what is up, and a very warm welcome to the channel. The sun is hiding and the magpie is casting. Coming to you guys right now with something completely different, because Dawn of War 3 has been released. This is the latest RTS from the fine people at Relic, who of course also brought us Company of Heroes 2, and so it would be remiss of me if I did not take a look at it. So I'd say I've got about maybe 9 or 10 hours under my belt with this game so far, enough to know that it seems like a solid RTS. I do quite enjoy it. It's definitely a new take on the genre, and I have to say I do kind of applaud Relic for trying something new and not just trying to polish a formula which is quite old, you know, the sort of typical RTS formula, if you like. They are really trying to evolve the genre, and yeah, I quite like that. So I've had a look around trying to find some sort of high-level, in air quotes, replays. I say high level because the game just came out. Nobody really knows what the meta is, but anyway, this replay that I found is apparently between two players who really do know what they're doing, and showcases some pretty cool play. I don't know which of them uploaded it, and of course I don't know who won this game. I haven't watched it through, so this is going to be as exciting for me as it is for you. I hope. That is assuming it's a good game. So why don't we load on in, and we'll see what's what. Now, it's worth pointing out in advance that there's going to be there's a lot of army customization in this, a bit like how you can choose generals in a Company of Heroes 2. In this game, you can pick 3 doctrines and also 3 elite choices who can be your sort of most powerful units. And all of those have army-wide effects. So you get kind of almost 6 army-wide effects that you can have access to. And they do really change the armies up quite a lot. Now, obviously just then, as you saw on the loading screen, it doesn't actually tell you what those doctrines do, and I'm not familiar enough with the game to know what the icons actually are. So, sadly, that's an important aspect of the game which I'm not really going to be able to analyze. Oh, no, it does tell me what their doctrines are. Sweet! Okay, cool. Right, well, there we go. I live and learn. Every day is a school day. So, anyway, without further ado, let's turn off this fog of war. I've put the spoiler block up here in the top right, because this is where all the replay controls are, so that's why you've just got this big block up here. Don't worry, you're not missing any, like, of the game screen or anything. So, spawning down here in the southwest, playing as the Eldar forces, it is Kif1RE, who I'm just going to call Kif. And spawning up in the top right, playing as the Space Marine Forces, the Hammer of the Emperor. It is going to be Trojan, WPTV's Trojan, to be specific. So, yay, there we go. This is going to be our 2 players. Looks like we've got some action underway already as some Dark Avengers here. Sorry, Dire Avengers. Going to be taking on a Tactical Marine Squad. So, let's see. Oh, wow. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this game. So, capture points, I guess these work a little bit like Company of Heroes. You can fortify them with listening posts, which add a defensive turret, which the enemy has to destroy before they can take them back. Each one of these points on the map has a number of nodes you can see over here on the mini-map. The yellow ones are for the requisition resource, which is down here in the bottom left. The blue ones are for the power resource, which is also down here in the bottom left. And the purple resource here, that is elite points, which there's usually only very few of these, so that's an elite point generator on the map. And elite points are what you use for buying these elites or using your super powerful, like, obliterating call-in. And that all makes a big difference. So... Oh, looks like we've got an assault squad on the field already. Damn, this is a fast game already, man. This, like, Company of Heroes 2 is so much slower paced than Dawn of War 3, which is really for the better, I think. Relic really acknowledging that people don't necessarily always have 50 minutes to spend playing if they just want to have a quick game. So, anyway. Okay, whilst these 2 players, like, handle their initial scuffles, which are super important, and I probably should cover them, I'm just going to take, like, 1 more second here just to explain the basics of Dawn of War 3 for those who might not be familiar. And that is that, unlike a lot of RTSs, Dawn of War 3 has borrowed from MOBAs, like, considerably. Games like, you know, League of Legends and Dota 2, stuff like that. In that, there are objectives, and most of your victories are going to be secured by taking out your opponent's objectives. So the first objectives are these shield generators. You can see there's one here on the minimap, one here, and for the red player, one here and one here. These are like defensive hardpoints. You can put your units in them and a shield will come up, which makes it quite... It's a very favourable position to defend for the home player. And once the shield generator is taken out, that means that the turrets are then vulnerable. So these turrets are like big, heavy, obliteratingly powerful base defense laser turrets. And once one of the turrets has been taken out, the core, which is this thing, can then be damaged. And if you lose your core, it's a bit like losing your ancient or what have you in Dota. So very important to defend this. This is like the crucial objective. And I know some of you out there may be flailing your arms and saying, hey, that's not RTS, oh, you can't do this, they're just kind of trying to rip off the popular genre and all that kind of stuff. Well, I've got to be honest with you, I think it actually really helps focus an RTS to have specific objectives. It means that both players have a very clear win-con in mind. It means that tactics and your strategies have something to revolve around. And, I mean, for example, in Company of Heroes 2, the action can sometimes feel a little bit unfocused because you're kind of halfway between killing your opponent for the win or trying to level their base sometimes if you think you can, or trying to win on VPs, which takes ages. In this, it's just very clear what the win con is, what the objective is, and I kind of do like the way that they've streamlined the action like that. So, now that we've covered, I guess, the basics of how the game works, I will attempt to turn my attention to the action. Although, you know, star asterisk disclaimer, I'm still not very good at this game, and I would say that my understanding of this game is just in its infancy, so I will do my best to try and cover the action, but it will be difficult here. So, the Eldar player looks like he's going pretty Dire Avenger heavy right now, up to 5 squads thereof. Squads in this game, relatively cheap, quite chaff-like. Unlike in Company of Heroes 2, there is no fallback button, so squads are actually pretty easy to lose, and that's kind of okay. If you're in the first phase of the game, and there is like a battle phase counter... Oh, awkwardly, it looks like when you are in replay mode, you can't see what the battle phase is, because it's normally up here in the top right. Well, I do hope that they fix that. But anyway... So in the first battle phase, if you lose a squad, you actually get a portion of the resources back, so it's kind of okay, in a sense, to lose resources. To lose squads, I say, sorry. Oh my goodness, there is a ton of action going on. I feel so, like, I am at sea when I'm casting this game at the moment. Look, compared to Company of Heroes 2, where I feel super cushy and at home, this is just crazy stuff going on. So anyway, it looks like the Eldar player has this blob of Dire Avengers, going to be trying to use their high DPS at ranged attacks to... dominate the Space Marine player, who, it's fair to say, is on the back foot right now. I'm going to switch to the Space Marine player's point of view here. We can take a look at his unit roster here in the bottom left. Looks like he's up to 2 squads of Assault Marines, putting on some pressure onto his opponent's shield generator here. It's nice to do for the Space Marine player. Pretty early to be doing it as well. You'll notice these guys have the jump pack, so they're quite maneuverable, but this is just far too many Dire Avengers for these Assault Marines to take on. So they are going to GTFO for now and try to fight another day, I imagine. Listening post has been established on this position by the Space Marine player, so these Dire Avengers are going to have a go at taking it out. Eldar units have shields that regenerate when they're out of combat. That's this pink health bar above their units. The red health bar is their, actual HP. When Eldar units are near these gateways, they have faster movement and faster health regeneration, shield regeneration, sorry, within this blue radius that you can see. The Eldar can also teleport these buildings away, so it's kind of a bit like creep tumors for Zerg. They make your units move faster and regenerate a little bit faster. I know Zerg creep tumors don't make them regenerate faster before someone says that. And you can also move them, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, here comes some more Assault Marines going to try and counter on in here. Now, the Space Marine faction is the faction that I know the best, so I'm going to go and check his tech, because that's a thing that I know how to actually do. So it looks like he's got the barracks, so that's how he's making his Assault Marines. He also has access to scouts, and as far as I can see, he doesn't have an additional tech choice out yet. Okay, so that's what he's going to be doing. He's got these, what are these guys? Oh, these are the Death Watch squad, so this is his elite choice. These guys got 2 elite units. Oh, dearie me, and they get picked down by the Farseer there. Brutal long-range psychic bolts just tearing into these poor guys. Whoa. Space Marine player, I think it's fair to say, on the back foot. He's been able to put on some objective pressure onto the shield generators, the first objectives. But the Eldar player has a substantial ball of units and just has way more options available. In fact, he may lose his Death Watch squad here in a second. Oh, the Assault Marine's going to try and do their best here. They're going to jump on in, but that is a lot of Dire Avengers with a Farseer on support. The Farseer is kind of a multifaceted spellcaster, useful in almost every situation, so she'll be able to contribute to this fight. These Assault Marines are going to have to GTFO. Space Marine units are quite durable, but not when there's this much shizzle taking them out. We've got Rangers mixed in here as well, potent sniper units. Looks like our Space Marine player here, Trojan, going to try and defend his shield point. So now you can see this defensive hard point, going to project a shield bubble around the Space Marine units here, and that enables them to fight whilst the damage incoming at them is hit onto the shields. So basically it makes the fight really inefficient for the Eldar player. Looks like the Eldar player for now choosing to blob his units. Now might seem like a good time to spread some units out and capture points around the field rather than just blobbing your units all together. But he's going to take this point for now, and I suppose there is strength in keeping your units together because, that means if your opponent, well, it basically means your opponent can't try and take a fight if you've got the better army on the field, which he does. So, Tier 2 is now completed for the Space Marines. They're a bit like Wehrmacht, for those of you who follow the Company of Heroes. They upgrade their tech by doing tech upgrades at their home structure, or tier upgrades. And now he's going to take an additional tech choice. Looks like he's going straight into a machine cult. So this is, you need tier 2 before you can build a machine cult, and this gives you access to vehicles, which are some of the more powerful units for the Space Marine faction, and indeed, now I think about it, all of the factions in this game, which are Eldar and Orcs. So yeah, it looks like he's going to be taking a choice out of this building. Based on the timing and the amount of resources he's floating, it's probably going to be land speeders, I would have thought. I mean, he doesn't have the most requisitional power. Wait, am I looking at his resources? Yes, I am. Okay, cool. Just making sure. So yeah, he's probably going to go for a land speeder out of this, which is like actually a pretty good choice. It counters almost every unit the Eldar player has out. It's fast, and if it's microed well, and I have to say, it is a joy to micro. It's a little bit like a T70 or a 222 from Company of Heroes, only more responsive and has more DACA, so it does feel really good. Looks like actually Trojan here finding a window to harass the shield generator here, gets it down to like nearly half health actually, and that's quite nice. What health are the Space Marine shield generators on? Pretty much max. Pretty much max. So although the Eldar player pretty much has the better standing army, I wouldn't say he's using it super efficiently. Actually, the Space Marine player leading as far as objectives go. So that's pretty important. Hang on a second. For some reason, the chair that I'm sitting on has just like decided to like. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. For some reason, like the back just went all loose and I nearly fell off the back of the chair. It's awesome times. Awesome times. Anyway, I've got Assault Marines pushing up on the field, capping over here. I gotta say, actually, the Space Marine player is, like, for sure was behind, but he's just being more efficient with his units. He's spreading them out, he's capturing points, he's harassing, he's not just blobbing them together. Looks like the Eldar player is actually now going to split some of his units around. And I think that's a really good idea. This blobbing technique is not good, I don't think. Kif is going to have to change this up if he wants to do well here. Let's see if we can see what choice it's going to be. He can afford a land speeder. They are 175, 175, very power-intensive unit. There we go. Power is kind of loosely equivalent to like Vespene gas. It's like the resource that you always have less of, and the resource which the pokier, more specialized, more aggressive units always cost more of. So a land speeder, super fragile, super aggressive, very fast, gonna cost you a lot of power. Tactical Marines, for example, super ploddy, super predictable, not exactly good at changing the state of a game, but they are like your meat and bones of your army. They cost no power, they just cost requisition. So there's kind of an example for you. Anyway, oh dearie me, these Assault Marines getting cut down in hand-to-hand by the Dire Avengers. Dire Avengers actually kind of pretty good. Oh, going to throw a plasma grenade on the way out as well. So not without micro is Kif. Eldar is like probably the faction I've played the second most of, but again, I would say my understanding of them still very poor, definitely in its infancy. Okay, so placing structures out on the map, which you can see the Eldar player has done with this warrior portal, enables you to reinforce units within this radius, so it's kind of like a forward fallback point in a way, even though falling back is not a mechanic in this game. Yeah, kind of like a forward rally point so that you can reinforce there. So anyway, here's that land speeder. You can see it moving out across the field now. Has an assault cannon and a heavy bolter. Going to start putting some damage onto these units. And you can see actually this land speeder has a shield bar, and that tells us that there has been a doctrine chosen here by Trojan. It will be those are Orc doctrines. That's not right. Why are those Orc doctrines? Okay, that's got to be busted. Okay, well anyway, there's a space doctrine, a Space Marine doctrine, which puts shields onto your land speeders, and that is what he's going to be using here on these land speeders. Going up to a second land speeder, actually. I gotta say, I quite like these choices so far. Quite spicy out of the Space Marine player. Double land speeder for the mid game here is pretty potent. Going to be repairing this listening post using the Death Watch squad here to defend. Has a rocket launcher on that squad as well. I'm going to try and hold this location. Land speeders are going to rally out onto the left here. Now, unlike in Company of Heroes, any unit can capture points. HQ units, vehicles, you name it, they can do it. This is... I think that was a Void Grenade. There's a lot of spells and a lot of abilities and a lot of ways you can customize your army in this game. So to begin with, me casting this game is going to be ambitious at best. But I will keep trying to bring you guys the action. Anyway, these land speeders at the moment are going to be working down this shield generator. You can see that there are some rangers garrisoning it, but they do tons of damage. They've also been upgraded to multi-melters. You can see the blasts from those guns doing good damage. And when the Eldar player brings his force to bear, the Space Marine player just going to kite back with the faster, more maneuverable, more fragile land speeders here. Going to look for another opportunity, come in from a different angle perhaps. Let those shields regenerate on the land speeders. I've got to say, land speeders are like super potent and really cool units actually. I really enjoy using them myself. Gonna find himself some Dark Reapers here to lay into. Gunning the squad down brutally. My goodness. Oh, is he gonna get the Rangers? Oh my goodness me. Turns out, like, 6-barreled rotary miniguns versus Eldar or Space Elves, you know, pretty effective. So, Looks like he might get himself an objective here. This shield generator is perilously exposed, and I don't think there are any Eldar units close enough to support. Meanwhile, battle down here in the south looks like the Space Marine players called in another elite choice. It's going to be the Chaplain here. That's the Chaplain in Terminator armor. Actually, that guy's got a lot of health. I've not actually seen the Chaplain used so far, so I don't have any idea what he does. Some stuff, I'm sure. Shield generator is going to fall over here, so the Eldar player's turret is now exposed. The Space Marine player can push up and try and get on into the Eldar player's base that way if he likes. These land speeders just doing a ton of damage. And look, the Space Marine player is just going to micro them back when their shields pop, which is kind of now. There we go. They're going to GTFO there. I think the Eldar player really needs to diversify his unit roster. Let's take a look at the tech choices here. What has he got? He has the Soul Shrine for upgrades. He kind of needs, like, what do we got here? An Infinity Portal. Produces Wraith Guard and Wraith Blades. I mean, they'll help. They're very slow, though. They'll never be able to kill these land speeders. The Wraith units are, like, incredibly heavy hitters, but, like, so slow. I think you really need, like, a Falcon, like a Prism Grav Tank, or... I mean, Dark Reapers were a good idea, but they just got mowed down by the land speeders. I'm not super sure on what the Eldar counters to land speeders are beyond, like, Fire Prisms. Maybe Falcon Grav Tanks will probably do the job, too. So, yeah, once again, these land speeders going to push in, grab a point, and then relocate here, allowing their shields to regenerate. Really like what I see from the Space Marine player. What other units does he even have alive? Assault Marines and some Tactical Marines. Okay, he's floating like nearly 900 requisition and like 300 power, so I would love to see him spend this. Does he have an armory? Okay, he has an armory, so he can burn some of the power getting some vehicle upgrades. That seems like a smart choice. I think maybe... Okay, so he's going up to tier 3. Right, that'll unlock the next set of upgrades. That's what he needs. That's what he's going for. Quite like that. He's also floating like nearly 1,000 requisition, though, so he could quite happily build like another tactical squad or even 2. One cool thing about the Space Marines you can do as well is you can choose to build your units in drop pods and then deploy them out on the field. So if you're floating requisition like this, you can just build more tactical Marines and then drop them in to help out, you know, in the middle of a fight and like turn the tide of battle. Super useful. So anyway. Looks like he's gonna control the middle of the field right now, bringing forward some infantry. Looks like we've got the Chaplain here as well. Landspeeder's gonna stay with the army for now. Looks like the Assault Marines are actually gonna jump forwards here, gonna scout this location. They are gonna find the Dire Avengers. Nice thing about Assault Marines is that you know, close combat units can run on in to these shield bubbles and help negate the benefit provided by that. So breaking fortified positions with assault units are totally a valid strat. You can actually almost tell any unit to engage in melee. There's like a selector here. There we go, see? Switch to ranged or switch to melee. So you can tell your tactical Marines to charge if you don't want them shooting with bolters, and if you really want to, you can tell your Assault Marines to fire with their pistols all day instead of using their chainsaws. So anyway. Looks like he's going to choose to push forward now. Leading with the Assault Marines is a bit awkward because I think they're going to take the first hit from the turret. You kind of want the Chaplain to take that hit because he's way more tanky. But the Space Marine player is going to choose to push the top lane here. Comes on in to try and put some damage onto the turret. This is going to be annoying. Like in MOBAs, the turrets kind of heal slowly over time. Looks like an ability was used there by the Chaplain to put a shield on himself and nearby units. This Chaplain perilously exposed. He is in danger of going down. This looks like an Autarch that the Eldar player has called in. The Autarch Kaya. Okay, so I have no idea what this unit does. I don't know what any of his spells or abilities are. There are quite a few of them. Magpie, 842. Pro casting for the win, and the Chaplain goes down. So all in all, pretty much an overextension there. Got like mediocre damage onto that turret. Not really enough to change anything or make much of a difference. Going to take advantage of the situation though, pushing with the land speeders elsewhere. Actually, he could have captured this point. And he's going to go for a Predator Annihilator. Oh, brutal stuff. Not using the drop pods, like, seemingly at all. You can build vehicles in drop pods as well. But anyway. So here comes the Predator Annihilator. This thing is, like, heavy-duty anti-armor. So I guess that's going to help against the Eldar late-game stuff. But, actually, on the subject of armor, a little bit like in StarCraft 2, but much more simplified. There are unit types in this game. All units have a type of armor, either normal or anti-armor. Normal weapons do half damage against anti-armor, and anti-armor weapons do half damage against normal armor. So you want to match up your anti-armor weapons to armored targets, and you want to match up your normal weapons to normal targets. That's kind of like the theory, I suppose, behind like how it ought to work. Whoa, the Landspeeder's here taking a ton of flak. One of them on its last legs here. The Space Marine player being turbo ambitious here. Well, he's got to be careful. Gonna lose one of the Landspeeders, perhaps. Nope. Just about gets out of there with pixels of health remaining. Oh, he flies on in range of this turret. Actually, whoa, he's got 2 Predator Annihilators. He's putting on a ton of pressure down here. Again, Magpie, super great awareness and casting for the win. I'm going to call in the Chapter Banner here. You can see this thing has come on in and he takes out the turret, which means that now the power core is exposed. Tiff here, is the name Kif? No, Kif here, sorry. has to defend hard here now. These Predator Annihilators do a ton of damage to buildings, to structures, because they do count as... oh no! Wow, the power core has normal armor. I thought for sure it was not normal armor. Whoa, the Autark here using some kind of... What the hell was that? Was that a grav grenade? Plasma grenade barrage. I feel like he was able to, like, suck the Predator Annihilators, like, into that for somehow. Oh, I don't know how the Eldar heroes work at all. Anyway. This Predator Annihilator here, clearly on its last legs, could go down. The land speeders actually haven't been repaired either, so actually a lot of the Space Marine units kind of gasping here. Going to be building a Dreadnought next. And there goes the Chapter Banner. So the Chapter Banner just gives a ton of buffs to Space Marine units that are in the area, and you can call it in about every 4 minutes. And it lasts for about, I think, like 45 or 60 seconds, something like that. Looks like he's going to switch to pressuring the top turret here. Predator Annihilators actually do sick damage against turrets. Boom! Takes out the top turret as well. Now the Eldar player is on heavy defense duty. He really can't leave his base for very long. Has to defend this power core. Wow, the Predator Annihilators do tons of damage. Tons of damage to buildings. It's brutal. And look, the land speeders are even going to find a window to come on in here and hit with the multi-melters. And this is actually probably game. Yeah, that's just game. Wow, okay, wow. I mean, based on the way that game was going in the opening phases, I thought for sure Kif was going to have a pretty good mid and late game, but... Dude, Trojan just knows how to micro with land speeders a treat. His unit choices there, like, surgically potent as well as the game went on. You could see that he was just choosing, like, the right scalpel for the right job there, just cutting his opponent down a little bit at a time, pressuring the objectives. And even though there were a lot of units here defending, I just think the Eldar player just perhaps didn't tech up fast enough. It seemed like he had no answer for the land speeders, nearly no answer for these tanks either. And he's gonna the game is gonna be forfeit as a result. So anyway, I guess that concludes this cast. Thanks very much for watching. I'm gonna cast more Dawn of War 3. I'm keen to see how this game develops. Let's put it that way. As with any RTS on release, there's a lot of room for improvement. There's a lot of room for smoothing things out with patches. Nobody really knows what the meta is like. Nobody really knows what the balance looks like. I mean, yes, there was a beta for a while, but there's only so much good a beta can do. You know, an RTS really only ever reaches a state of any kind of decent balance after like months of genuine play. But I'm really keen to see how this game goes. The army customization options, the choices you can make when you're putting together your army and whatnot, are actually really deep, a lot deeper than those in Company of Heroes 2. And I also think that the way the action flows is really cool. And I also think that 2v2 and bigger team games are actually way cooler in Dawn of War than Company of Heroes. I mean, so far, I don't know. It might just be like new game syndrome that I'm like loving it or whatever. But anyway, so I guess that concludes this first look at Dawn of War 3. I hope you all were able to understand at least something about the game. I mean, it plays so fast and there's so much going on that I really didn't feel like I was able to cast that very well. But casting Dawn of War 3 is a skill which I'm prepared to develop, so hopefully I'll get better at that as time goes on. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. This for now is Magpie A42 signing out.